What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table we have another Archon Vault Tour Day 1 game from Gen Con 2019. On the left we have David, on the right we have Peyton. You can check out both their deck lists. They are in the description below. Head on over to the Master Vault, see what cards are in them before watching, if you're curious. If you haven't seen the other videos I do like this with commentary, you can check them out. They are in a playlist, a bunch of them, at Rob's Gaming Table on YouTube. You can see Origins coverage, Gen Con sealed coverage, and this is Gen Con Archon coverage. Tight mechanic to start for David. Keys are reduced by 1. Quixo the Adventurer dropping in. Lab work, gaining an amber. And he's going to gain an amber and should be able to archive a card here. This is day 1. This is from the Swiss. One of the 4 games I recorded. After this, we'll have some day 2 coverage. Games that were not on Fantasy Flight's game stream that you'll be able to see here. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss those. It looks like that was all for Peyton's turn. Over to David. See David rocking the pins of the new factions there, the Star Alliance and the... Is it Sauron? I forget how to say it, but you know my pronunciations are on point always. Ugh. But I got myself some of those pins from Gen Con 2, demoing the game. You know, that game KeyForge I've never heard of. It was nice to go up and demo it. Try it for the first time at Gen Con 2019. Seemed cool. And you guys know I'm totally kidding. I've been playing it since the pre-release weekend. So we got Dexter coming in on the other side there. He captured 1. Then Tight Mechanic's going to do a reap, putting David at 1 amber. And that's going to be it for his turn. So some calm, relaxed starting turns here. Slow play of Logos. Both have Coda decks. Just looking at the decks here, the interesting thing on the left, David's deck has Khalifi Dragon in it. Brought a Khalifi Dragon deck to a Archon Vault Tour. Also has this other card that's kind of good, I guess. Time Traveler with this Help from Future Self. I don't know, seems good. And then we have Ghostly Hand getting 2 amber. Steals the 1 amber that David had, and then Hidden Stash getting an amber. And he'll get to archive a card. Both players seem to like yellow sleeves. That's my favorite color. I think they just put them on to match the tablecloth that Gen Con used underneath there. Alright, does Peyton have anything else here out of his Shadow's turn? Let's check what he has. He's dropping a Poison Wave down, so 2 damage to each creature. He's going to gain amber for that, go to 5. So nobody's going to be destroyed from this, but they'll each take 2 damage. So in Peyton's deck, he's got Sneck Lifter. What else he got here? I see a Magda the Rat for some steel. He's got Bait and Switch. Obviously not as powerful as it used to be. See what else he's rocking here. He's got a Rise, Control of the Weak. Creeping Oblivion. Like that card. Alright, let's see what they play here. It's over to David's turn. So David's going Shadows. He's going to steal 1 with a Nerve Blast, deal 2 damage to destroy Quixo the Adventurer. And that's going to be it for his turn. 1 card play. He saves the Lights Out in his hand there, you see. Stored that, and I guess it's because there's no creatures. You don't want to use it just for the amber. But then he drew 1 less card. So Peyton's going to go Dis here, grabs his archives. There's that Creeping Oblivion I was just gushing over. He gets an amber for it. And he purges Nerve Blast. And an Eater of Dead hitting the board. And Tolas is decided to be played. So when a creature's destroyed, its opponent gains 1 amber. I don't think it's bad playing that right now, since even if Eater of the Dead is fought by Tight Mechanic, they both would die, so they both would get an amber out of it. And we have an Arise. What's he naming?
It's an X Factor. I'm trying to decide if I'm playing it or discarding it.
So Peyton might just discard a Rise. He's just going to look through his discard. He's actually going to discard it. No real creatures in there yet. Doesn't want to gain the chain. Doesn't want to hold on to it.
If my creature dies, you gain.
Yep, I gain 1, and if my creature dies, you gain 1.
Okay.
Cool. And then I'll end my turn, and I'll check with 5.
So Peyton is at check, having 5 Amber. I forgot that Titan mechanic's out there from round 1. And that explains why David went there on the Nerve Blast turn just to steal 1. He's trying to keep him off of forging a key. I totally missed that. Now, looking at David's hand there, it should just go Brobnar, just play the cards. So he's going to do loot the bodies. For every creature of the opponent he destroys, he'll gain an Amber here on this turn. And here's a Brothers in Battle. So he's going to get an Amber off that and then name a house. He's going to choose Logos, I'm sure. And then each friendly creature from that house may fight. We see he's got Champion's Challenge in hand. I don't think he wants to play that yet. And then he has, what is that, a punch? Looks like a punch. Yes, it's a punch. Deal 3 damage to a creature. So a little risky here. He could do 3 damage to the Titan mechanic just to get the Amber off punch. And then still run the Titan mechanic into the Eater of the Dead. So they both be destroyed, but the only problem is the Titan mechanic would be giving an Amber to Peyton for being destroyed off Tolis. So you might want to just get Tolis off the board first. Yeah, he's going to fight. Titan mechanic, Eater of the Dead, they'll take each other out. But then again, David is gaining 2 Amber per destroyed creature right now. So, I mean, he might just be okay with giving Peyton a key and then trying to get himself set up. So he's going to punch. He doesn't get the Tolis Amber. They are going to call a judge here. He should not get the Tolis Ambers. Tolis won't be around after he's destroyed. So what they're checking here is if punch would give an Amber off Tolis before leaving play. When that is not correct, he does not. At least that's my understanding.
So he punched my Tolis. Does he get the Amber for Tolis dying?
Each time a creature is destroyed, its opponent gains yes. So
I'll let you roll.
Because the destroy effect happens.
That's not a destroy effect.
Yeah, it's not a destroyed effect. The judge is about to rule it's a destroyed effect that gets triggered first, but it's not the same, so it doesn't work that way.
So what's the card being played? Punch?
Punch is punching Tolis.
Tolis will not gain the Amber off himself. The timing of his trigger is at the time of destruction, which is also when he would lose play. He's not in play at the time where his ability would trigger.
Yeah, so we get ruled that no Amber gets dealt, which makes sense.
And 1 from loot.
Obviously, you have the word destroyed attached to it.
It's not a destroyed ability. It is a passive text that has a timing of when.
Can I read
each time a creature is destroyed?
Can I read Loot the Bodies? Can I read what Loot the Bodies says? I just want to make sure I understand how it works.
So now they're just checking Loot the Bodies to determine if he gets an Amber off that, which he does.
You gain 2, 1 from that, 1 from that. Okay.
So he gets an Amber off of Punch and an Amber off of Loot the Bodies, but nothing off Tolis. And that is your learning moment here, brought to you by our Cascade judges. All right, so Peyton forges his first key. He gets there. David is in check with 6. So David checking through his hand here. He's got a Neutron Shark hiding in there. It's got some Lights Out. It's got some Twin Bolt Emission. A lot of cool stuff hiding in there. He needs Peyton to put some more creatures on the board. And here comes one in the Titan mechanic. So reducing key costs. And we see a phase shift, allowing a Nexus to hit the board.
I'll play Scrambler Storm so you cannot play actions on your next
Nice. Scrambler Storm. So gains an amber, and now David can't play action cards on his next turn. Hopefully they remember that card.
play. Sloppy lab work.
And we have a Sloppy Lab work to archive and discard a card.
Archive I can't discard, so just this.
Nothing to discard, though. His hand is empty. Nice way to end the turn.
And I'll end my turn. You forge for 5.
So David, sorry, is forging a key for 5 since Tight Mechanics other reducing costs still on a flank.
Yeah, and having to play game, while it made me not immediately lose, it didn't give me. They did, but I think
Looks like David's debating going Logos here or Shadows. I think Shadows would be funny doing the lights out, sending both Nexus and Tight Mechanic back to hand. They're of separate houses, so that would slow Peyton down a bit. But Neutron Shark could destroy them. He's going to go Logos, Reap with Dexter, which he has in play. Makes sense. And then this way he Neutron Sharks. And that way he can destroy Dexter, putting him back on the top of the deck. He doesn't have any artifacts in place, so Nexus isn't really a threat right now. And I'm not sure. See what he has in his deck. I see a Gauntlet of Command.
Okay.
That might be... Oh, a Seeker Needle. It's got a Seeker Needle in there.
Oh, okay.
And that seems to be it.
So we go again. Oh, we don't go. Okay.
So Neutron Shark, he triggers it on him, destroys the Tight Mechanic, flips to loot the body, so the Neutron Shark won't continue. And he doesn't play the Twin Bolt Emission. I'm surprised he did not do that first. But I guess that would kill Dexter. But, yeah, I don't know. David's playing a little differently than most I see play, holding cards for the opportune times.
So we'll go Magda.
But I mean, it's a tie game right now, so what do I know? So Magda the Rat comes in though and steals 2. And when she leaves play, she'll steal 2 back for David.
Shadow Cell.
Shadow Self there to protect Magda the Rat a little longer. And Umbra coming in on the other side to be protected by Shadow Self.
I'll reap with Nexus.
And Nexus will get a Reap, bringing Peyton up to 5 Amber.
In my turn.
And that's it for his turn. Not getting to check there. But he did play a bunch of cards.
we're gonna make our decisions, and you can just do this. We're gonna make you call this.
So it looks like a good time for Champions Challenge. David's looking at it in his hand. He's debating playing it. He's debating going Brobnar here, which I don't see being a problem. He's got a bunch of Brobnar in hand. He's got that Khalifi Dragon, though, that's not getting out into play. But he's got to sound the horns to help him dig through his deck and also give him an Amber. So we got a Champions Challenge. So it's going to leave Shadow Self on the board.
You steal 2 back.
So Magda the Rat leaving. Gives 2 Amber back to David.
And then we'll fight.
And Dexter fights Shadow Self, giving him 3 damage, but Shadow Self doesn't deal any damage when attacking or when fighting. So Dexter won't get hit back. Then we have a Sound the Horns to gain an Amber. And he'll get to start discarding cards from his deck till he finds a Brobnar creature, which he does, which is Grenade Stiv. He decides to play him right away. And he's got the Khalifi Dragon just sitting there. And he's going to hold it. Wow. Interesting. Looks like he did draw a couple more Brobnar cards. Just needs to have, what is it, 7 or more Amber? Yes, Khalifi Dragon cannot in play unless you have 7 or more Amber.
Alright, I'll call Dis. So I'll archive a card.
So Peyton's going Dis here. Use Library of the Damned to archive a card. course, he's checking what's stored in that archive already, trying to line the same house, or at least a card that he'd like to have in his hand at the time he grabs his archives.
I'll play Dust Imp.
And we got a Dust Imp throw on the board. That's the one that's destroyed. You would gain 2 amber. And we have a Dominator Bauble in play. Some good house cheating there.
Control the Weak.
And here we have a Control the Weak play.
Brobnar.
And he's saying that Brobnar cannot be played or has to be played. I always get confused. Your opponent must choose that house as their active house on the next turn. And I think he wants that house. And normally that's the thing I see a lot of players do, is they name the house that was just last played, assuming there's not like 15 creatures out on the board of that house. So we got another Grenade Snib. The other one will Reap. He's at 4 amber. Not enough to get that Khalifi Dragon out of hand. And, oh, David's going to discard cards here. Loot the Bodies and Khalifi Dragon. He's tired of holding them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he'll just draw back up. Sit at 4 amber. So still a tied game. 4 amber apiece. 1 key forged each. Yeah, Control the Weak and Tesmol. It's like, I gotta remember which one does which. I need to play more with those cards. That's what needs to happen. And the lab work. Gaining an amber. Gets to archive a card. 3 cards down the archives for Peyton.
I'll play Novu Archaeologist.
And we have an Archaeologist. I love the recursion on this guy. Gets to archive a card from the discard pile.
Play Twin Bolt Emission.
And there's a Twin Bolt Emission on the other side. Gets an amber.
2 to Dexter and 2 to Shadow Self.
Oh, he hits Shadow Self and Dextra to get 1 amber back. Obviously, he doesn't want to hit the Grenade Snibs at this point because they'll lose amber. Dextra returns to the top of the deck. I'm surprised he didn't do the Dust Imp, but I guess it would just go on Shadow Self anyway, so never mind.
My turn and check with.
Just thought of it as I was saying it.
I'll draw 4. Go to
So
6.
Peyton's I check for a second key here.
So I already lost. We're just
And sitting at 7. David at 4, looking for key number 2. Looks like David's loaded in hand with 5 Shadows cards here. Looks like Seeker Needle, Naughty the Thief. I think a Poison Wave, Urchin, and Lights Out. And David's going to go Shadows. Seems like the right call here. For the Lights Out, I would definitely bounce the Dust Imp and the Archaeologist back to hand for sure. She's going to do. Yep, and those are the targets. Should get an amber off that, go to 5. Ooh, a Poison Wave. Dirty hitting his own side there, getting the 2 Grenade Snibs out of play to lose 4 amber on Peyton's side. And he puts 2 on Shadow Self. I actually would have played the Poison Wave first, so that Shadow Self would have taken all the damage that would have went on to the Dust Imp and the Archaeologist. And that would have taken him out. But instead, Shadow Self still around here. Urchin coming in, stealing 1. Naughty the Thief dropping on the board. We have a Seeker Needle down in the artifacts for David now. Yeah. Order of card play does matter in KeyForge. That's one of the big things to learn as you get better at the game. It's definitely order matters a lot. And it comes with practice, comes with analyzing your play, it comes with watching videos like this. And we have bait and switch. And we have Macus Asp drop there in an Umbra. Getting some protection from Shadow Self between both of them there. Still.
And I'll play Nerve Blast.
And we have a Nerve Blast to steal 1, deal 2 to Naughty, of course. Taking Naughty out of play.
And I'll Reap with Shadow Self.
Shadow Self's going to go for the Reap, putting Peyton at 6 with check.
And my turn, check with 6.
shadows.
And Dave is going with another Shadows turn. Looks like he's got Umbra, or no, sorry, Urchin. Miasma, I believe, in hand. Naughty the Thief.
I got to play against the SAS guy with the deck that won Germany in round 2. Yeah. No, I got to shut down guard.
Subtle Maul. So David's thinking about the order, how he wants to play this. How can he get the most amber, most impact, and get the most cards out of hand without hurting himself too much? So Urchin's going to fight Shadow Self just to give him 1 extra damage, and then Secret Needle to finish off Shadow Self to get David an amber. And Urchin will come in and steal 1. We got Naughty the Thief now on the right flank. He's got a Subtle Maul and a Miasma here. I think he's debating whether he wants to use his Miasma now or hold it. I mean, you can get an amber for playing it right now. Subtle Maul, he just needs to play as an artifact, but I think he thinks it's an action. I've seen players make this mistake where they try to play it as an action. So, no, he just plays like an artifact. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I thought he was deciding to do the action or not. See, that happens sometimes. Alright, so it's just the Miasma choice he was debating on, playing it or not. But I think he's okay to not play it. I mean, it'll just stall Peyton another turn here if he does get into check. But then that forces David to play Shadows, which, I mean, looking at his board right now is not a bad thing, but will that all still be there at the end of Peyton's turn here? So Peyton's going Dis. Lash of Broken Dreams has made an appearance here. And here's a Dust Imp on the right flank. We saw that return back to hand earlier. He's going to archive a card off Library of the Damned. It's too bad that Lash wasn't out of turn earlier. Does he have a way to get David off? Does he have a Schuler in there? Does he have a Charette? Oh, he's got Umbra. He can use off a Dominator Bobble. Derp. Should have noticed that. So he's going to fight an elusive creature, so obviously no damage will be dealt. He'll steal 1. So he puts himself in check and gets David off of check. And he's drawn his deck out here. So Peyton's already gone through his deck. That's what you get with all that archiving. And David's board was untouched, so he's going to go Shadows. Makes sense. He'll steal 1 with Naughty the Thief. So he's staring at Miasma, doesn't want to play it. He's going to reap twice with the Urchins. Gaining 2 more.
It's only damage from creature fighting us, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's skirmish.
Yeah, skirmish. So it doesn't get dealt damage when it has 3 damage to all creatures.
So 1 damage.
Yeah, he's going to put 1 damage on Umbra. That makes sense. So then he can hopefully kill it next turn. And then Subtle Maul, he's going to discard a card at random out of Peyton's hand here. Let's see what he grabs. And it is a Dance of Doom, it looks like. Yep, that is Dance of Doom. And still holds that Miasma. So David's at check with 8 amber. He's got a pretty tight, close game here. Neither player letting each other forge their second key. A lot of back and forth, ending turns in check, and then starting your turn not in check anymore. And Peyton's going to go Dis. Got a Shuffles coming in here. And Lash increasing key cost, so David's not going to be forging next turn. Library of the Dam archiving a card. And I'm sure Bobble will use Umbra.
I'll use a friendly creature, so I'm gonna use Umbra.
Yeah, he's going to do the Umbra thing.
Well, he's got elusive, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yep, so I'll still steal one from his effect. And then I'll attack with Dust Imp into Naughty.
So Dust Imp into Naughty to finish him off after Umbra burns the elusive. 2 Amber from the Dust Imp.
I'll end my turn, so you'll lose one from Shackles.
And Shackles will force David to lose an Amber. But he's not forging anyway. Key cost is +3.
And I'll check with...
And he's sitting at 6. And Peyton ends his turn at 8 with check. So are we finally going to see that Miasma play? Or is David going to play the giant mitt full of Logos cards he's now drawn into? Instead, no, he goes Shadows. So Seeker Needle, going to get rid of Umbra. Gets an Amber for that. He reaps with the Urchins. Okay. And then he plays Miasma. So Peyton will skip his KeyForge step next turn. And Subtle Mole will discard a card at random once Peyton's done shuffling up his deck here to draw into some more cards.
So I draw 3.
And it's a phase shift grabbed on the discard from Subtle Mole. And that's going to be it for David's turn. Ends his turn at, looks like, 10 Amber. Peyton skipping his KeyForge step thanks to Miasma.
But my one loss was to Devonshire.
He could raise the key cost by 3 again on a dis turn here. Shaffles, no matter what's going to make him lose 1. So David would still forge, but at least he'd forge at 9 full Amber, wouldn't have any left over. But what does Peyton have in hand and is in archives? Does he want to go disc again? Does he have any discs to use? He could continue to build up his archives, Library of the Damned, and use Dominator Bauble to use the Macus Asp, but the Macus Asp could just reap, get an extra Amber. And Peyton's going Logos, grabbing his archives.
I'll play Interdimensional Grab.
And Interdimensional Graft, nice play. So he's going to get all the rest of the Amber that David will get, will have left over.
So if you forge for 6, I'll get 4.
So obviously he doesn't want to raise David's key cost anymore. He wants to get that 4 extra Amber. And there's the Archaeologist finally coming back there. Mother dropped on the left flank. But I think he'll just get 3 Amber thanks to Shaffles. Shaffles will force David to lose an Amber at the end of the turn. There's Type Mechanic actually reducing cost, so he will get 4. If he keeps that Type Mechanic on the flank. He will do a sloppy lab work, taking an Amber. Archive and discard. And he's got an empty hand. There you go.
In my turn, so you'll lose an Amber.
So at the end of the turn, he forced Shaffles to lose an Amber. But current key cost is 5 for both players.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And Peyton will take 4 more Amber. And I quickly take a look at David's deck list here to make sure he's not running too much to protect. And no, it does not look that's the case. No, he does not. And he doesn't have a... And he doesn't have a interdimensional graft of his own either. So, but if David does have 2 KeyForge though, and Peyton's still sitting at 1.
Yeah, you were at 5, so I knew I didn't have to run.
So the race is on. Library access here from David, trying to plow through his deck a little more here by playing all his Logos cards. And we got some help from Future Self. Looks like it's coming. Yep. He's going to get an Amber off that. He'll draw a card, then he'll do the effect on the card. He's actually going to reverse that. His opponent's okay with the take back. I think he wants to shuffle back a bunch of these Logos cards back in his deck. Makes sense. So he's going to do 2 to Shaffles. Get rid of Shaffles. That makes complete sense. And maybe do 2 on the Macus Asp. So you line them up for a future Seeker Needle. That's the way I would play it there. But he hits the Titan Mechanic. And he draws a card off the Twin Bolt Emission. Now he's doing the help from Future Self. So he draws off library access. And then he'll search for the time traveler. Find it, put it back to hand, and then shuffle his discard pile in his deck. And then when he's done, Help from Future Self will be his new discard pile.
Nothing is making me freak out. And you're doing well. So I should be freaking out even more because there's something here that I'm not getting. So it's funny, I'm listening to
So David's just trying to get to check here, get as much amber as he can. And maybe Peyton can't stop him from forging key number 3 when it comes back to his turn. So there's Time Traveler gaining an amber. He'll draw 3 cards total, 1 off library access, 2 off Time Traveler's ability.
It's like a win is like multiple points. So why not just sit around and hope for another?
Yeah, I would have just played out as many Logos cards as I could first before drawing back up. Before doing the Help from Future Self. But I don't know if that's correct. I'm not really a huge library access player, but I just think having all those cards in your discard pile and then being able to draw back up just increases your chance of library access to keep going. I think he could have a lot of Logos cards in that deck that he had left over, and maybe you wouldn't want to shuffle it first. So I guess it just comes down to where all the Logos cards are at the time. Looks like a lot of them were in hand. So we got a Vespian Theorist.
They always do better than I do.
And Extra capturing 1. Drawing another card there. And lots of Logos cards still in David's hand here. He's got a Neutron Shark. He's got a Positron Bolt.
Make sure you get that coupon. We got Raccoon Tycoon. I've heard of it. It actually is
David's still only at 3 amber. Needs to try to get to check here. Or else it could be back-to-back forges for Peyton and too quick. So Positron Bolt.
Has to be to a flank creature.
So he tries to do it to Mac's Asp to start, but it's got to start with the flank creature.
town, 2 railroads, and then build it. So on your turn, you can play a card to increase the cost of like the top half. So increases the cost of
So he's going to go 3 to Mother, 2 to Mac's Asp, 1 to Novi Archaeologist. And he gets a card draw off that, and an amber. Goes up to 4. So he goes Doc Bookton. Draws a card. So he's going to play a Neutron Shark, which should draw him a card first.
Or you can start a bid for the railroad, and they come in sets. So the first one maybe
I would take out Lash for sure. That'd be my #1 target, to be honest. Maybe Titan Mechanical also would be pretty hot since he's reducing your opponent's key cost right now. But you might want to leave him out there because you may only be getting to 5 amber right now, and it's all about David wanting to get into check right now, is what his #1 thought has to be. So it's not a Logos card. That's flipped off the top of the deck, so Neutron Shark's going to continue. Oh no, he stops. He stops, sorry. Let me just double check.
Yeah, Neutron Shark goes off again, right? Because it's not Logos?
No,
So it's
only if it is logos.
It says if it's not Logos, trigger this effect again.
Yeah, sorry, I was confused there. He said it doesn't trigger, but yeah, Neutron Shark is, if it's non-Logos, it does continue. So Urchin being destroyed, kill the Nofi Archaeologist.
they ask if we want to translate. No, I'm nervous enough as it is.
This deck, like
Yeah, I would have gone for that Lash, though. I'm not surprised he hasn't gone for it.
Does the whole effect retrigger?
Yeah, I have to go again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got to flip another one for Neutron Shark. It keeps going.
Okay.
So Macus Bass
It's good playing here.
going to kill the Theorist. So it looks like David doesn't want it to keep going, but it's going to keep going. And I'm surprised he has not done an artifact yet. Maybe he forgets that you can do artifacts also on the Neutron Shark. But it says destroy an enemy creature or artifact and a friendly creature or artifact. Discard the top card of your deck. If that card is not Logos card, trigger this effect again.
So I just choose creature here. Could be
So he's stuck here. Doesn't know what he wants to do. The Theorist. He's going to do Quixo the Adventurer. Flip again. And it's Miasma. So he'll do Dexter off the top of the deck to finally stop it, and clears the Peyton's board of creatures. But leaves Lash out there, which I think is a huge mistake. He should have got left the Titan Mechanic. Well, he's got one of his own even. Oh, he could have left 2 Titan Mechanics on the board, and that leaves Peyton having to cover a Titan Mechanic and get David off check.
Only 20 cards.
And now David's got a handful of like 8 Brobnar cards here.
Well,
All right, over to Peyton's turn for forging. Should be able to forge 5 for 5. Yep, with the Titan Mechanic being out there. And for some reason, he just switches up his battle line. I don't know why David just did that. But the turn ends.
He just ended his turn as he was saying. So I guess we'll say it's my turn. You each get 1 turn. Do we each get 1 turn? Or
So we're trying to figure out whose turn it is here. Because time just ended.
ending his turn.
It's something that people are
I don't know. I guess so. You have to have a stopwatch.
Yeah, you just call a judge and they'll make it. I think it's better
Let's just have a judge decide.
Yeah, because they need to be here anyway for the
Yeah.
tiebreakers.
Judge.
So they're going to call a judge because now we're going to tiebreakers. They're saying time was called when it was David's turn ending, but it may be in Peyton's turn already. I'm not sure. But they're going to figure out. They want a judge there to determine. And
Exactly where ending the turn.
This has come up before.
Yeah. So
What actions were being taken when time was called?
he was. He was untapping and passing the.
So you were the player who was ending in the process of ending their turn when time was called. When time was called, had you completely readied your creatures and drawn your cards?
I don't think so.
No.
Then you would be considered the active player when time was called.
yeah, so it was David's turn since he was readying his creatures there. When time was called, he wasn't completed his turn.
We'll take an additional turn.
So now Peyton has a turn.
Neither player has won the game at the end of the
And so he got to forge key number 2.
You just need more amber than him.
Wait, but what about? So what is it? Amber or keys or
So,
what?
Keys and amber.
at the
Okay.
end of your turn, if neither player has won the game, the first step of tiebreakers is to forge a key at 6, regardless of
So
card
Peyton just gets to forge a key here because he has enough amber to do it at 6. And David's does not, so Peyton wins here. So there's tiebreakers for you.
Gonna undo the key if it.
Oh, and he has key hammer. He had some backup just in case David did get his key forge there. So that was interesting, pretty close. But yeah, thanks a lot to all our Patreon donators. If you'd like to be one and help the channel grow and help me get me to more tournaments, get more videos like this, the link is in the description below to head on over to Patreon. Like I said, thanks to everyone who supports us there. Thanks for being here watching. Hit that like button if you want to see more KeyForge. And make sure you stick around. I got more to come. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.